disappointed? Well, that's because students have been anxiously awaiting the announcement of dates of some crucial exams, including the CBSE boards, which the Education Minister does not seem to have done. Why has he not announced exam dates yet? What is the thinking behind it? And what were the big takeaways from his interaction today? Kritika Sharma, who as you know tracks education for The Print, is with us in this episode of Government Matters. Send in your questions right away. Kritika, so let's address the big question first.
Yeah.
Where are the exam dates? I mean, the poor students are just sort of, wondering what's happening and when they will be able to take their exams.
Yes, so like you rightly pointed out, students were really anxiously waiting for the minister to announce the exam dates. In fact, a lot of questions that the minister took during the live interaction also surrounded asking exam dates for CBSE boards and JEE and NEET. But he did not seem to, give a conclusive answer to students, although he did drop a few hints here and there, saying that we do not have any intention of postponing the NEET exam because NEET was postponed in 2020 because of the pandemic. He hinted that the exam will not be postponed in 2021, but he did not clearly give an exact date. Also for the JEE, he did not give an exact date, but hinted that JEE will happen somewhere around Feb end. For the CBSE boards, he completely
skirted the question.
Yes. So he did not give a clear answer on CBSE boards because the CBSE board is an exam which has to be conducted in consultation with a lot of other boards also.
Right.
The government will have to speak to ICSE, then they'll have to speak to the state boards. So all of the boards have to announce the dates in coordination with each other, which is why there seems to be a delay or a lag in announcement of the dates.
Right. So also there was this conversation about the CBSE syllabus that has been cut, and then what to do about the JEE entrance, and what can be introduced in the what can be done about the JEE entrance. So what was that about, and what's the solution that the minister gave?
Yes, so this is one of the takeaways, as I can point out from this interaction. Because CBSE reduced its syllabus by 30%, so now there is a thought, this discussion is still going on, but most likely this is how it will happen. When this JEE mains exam is, the question paper is designed, the questions will be such that students who have not studied the 30% of reduced syllabus will also be able to, answer the questions. So later the ministry sent out a detailed press note in which they have written that there will be 90 questions, out of which students 30 will be chemistry, 30 will be physics, 30 will be maths, and students will have to answer only 25 of them.
Okay.
So this is the kind of pattern or a new change which the ministry is thinking of. Although it's still in the works, but this is something that they're thinking of.
Right. Okay. Now, Kritika, if you were to talk about what are the other big points that the minister made, because this entire year has been turned topsy-turvy thanks to COVID, and for students it has been a very difficult year. So it was important for the minister to directly address them.
Yes. So a couple of takeaways which could not happen during the live interaction. I would like to tell the students who waited throughout the interaction and could not get answers to some of their questions. There was a detailed statement which the ministry released later, in which they have in fact given a couple of important points. One is that JEE mains will be held 4 times in 2021.
As against twice?
As against twice. Yeah. So the idea is to hold the first exam by the end of February. So that answers one first question.
Right.
Whether the exam will be JEE mains will be delayed. Yes, it will be delayed. The JAN exam will happen in Feb. Towards end of February, no date announced yet obviously, but towards the end of February is what students should keep in mind. The second exam will be happen in March, JEE mains 2. Then there will be a JEE mains which will be happen in April, and one in May. Okay. Also the minister has said that students will be allowed to either appear in all 4 of them, 2 of them, or any number of exams they can take.
So it's up to the student's choice.
It's up to the student's choice. And how would they calculate the result? So the result will be calculated on the basis of the best of 4 performance.
Okay.
Suppose a student thinks that he's not been able to perform well in the first exam, he can take the second attempt, the third attempt, and for such students who've taken multiple attempts, the result will be on the average or the best of the 4.
All right.
Yeah.
So what is the purpose of this? Is it to make one crowding less at exam, like at one go, less students appear for exams?
Yes, obviously, although they've not said this in so many words, but this is one of the reasons I believe they're doing so, because the press statement says that every month the exam happens. It will be conducted for 3 to 4 days. So there you're spacing out, giving calling less students, and you're following the whole social distancing norm. Also because there is a lot of anxiety and panic among students. Again, they are, some of them during the live interaction were also saying that delay the exams, postpone the exams, because the government doesn't want to do it. So they're thinking of 4 consecutive exams.
All right. So let me start with some audience questions.
Sure.
The first one is from Sonia J. Some of the central universities are using open test book assignments methods for exams at the undergraduate level. Will you please elaborate on this entire concept of OTBA?
Okay, so open book exam is something where a student is allowed to refer to books while writing the question, while answering the question. It also means that the questions are not directly from the book. It means that you cannot just copy a whole text from the book and answer a question. It will be more subjective type of questions. You'll have to think about it a little.
Draw inferences.
Yeah. So you'll have to draw inference from the question, and probably use some formulas or some text here and there from the book, and then answer questions.
All right.
So that's the whole purpose of an open book exam.
Okay. There is one question from Bhabarnab Bhattacharji. How will the CBSE board exam affect the state board exam? So now CBSE is not the only board. There is ICSE, there is IB, then of course there are various state boards.
Yeah. So that's the thinking going on. In fact, the question which we were trying to address initially in this conversation, why the delay and why is the government not announcing exams? That's because a lot of state boards are also still thinking when to conduct the exams, because everyone will have to do it according to the also health ministry guidelines, Ministry of Home Affairs guidelines, what's the kind of COVID situation in their state. So all those things will have to be kept in mind. So whenever the exams happen, they'll be around the same time, like it usually happens every year. If the CBSE's, ICSE exams start in March, the state boards typically start their exams by the end of March or April, around the same time. So this year also they'll make sure that the exams are, in coordination, in sync with each other.
Okay. There's a question from Atman Shah. Is there a chance of NEET happening more than once and of it shifting online?
Actually, you can't completely rule out the possibility of NEET shifting online, because this is what the education minister also said during his conversation. It was a question posed to him during the live interaction. So he did not completely rule out the possibility. Yes, it could happen because JEE is already happening online. So NEET could also be shifted online, but that's up to the authorities to decide.
All right. There's a question from Varada Sambhus. Are submission dates for PhD in central universities being postponed?
Yes. In fact, I recently reported about it early this week. The UGC has come up with a circular, and students who are in their terminal year PhD and MPhil can submit their thesis by June 2021.
All right. This is from Tejasdeep Singh. How will the NEP, which is of course the new education policy, influence JEE and NEET in 2021? So is there any link there?
No, there is no direct link to from NEP with respect to the JEE and NEET. What will happen is the syllabus could change a little, but that's not been announced so far. So I think the students should completely focus on the kind of syllabus they're studying from right now, unless the authorities announce it in those many words.
Right. Okay. Soumya, any news on how the center wants to implement the native language push in IITs? So you've done a story, in fact.
Yes. So it's at a very nascent stage right now. So what the government wants to do is they want to introduce engineering, let's say technical education, more specifically engineering in mother tongue. Mother tongue is the word that they're using. It would mean Hindi for in areas and regions where when most people speak Hindi. In southern India, in Tamil Nadu, in Telangana, Kerala, where people don't speak Hindi, their mother tongue is the regional language. So there the courses will be taught in those languages.
Those regional languages, right?
Regional languages. So the idea behind this is to familiarize students, specifically students who have regional languages as the medium of study.
Right.
There are a lot of students who do not have Hindi medium or English medium as a medium of study. Some students study in Gujarati, some students study in Bengali medium, some study in Marathi medium. So the idea behind this push is to make things easier for those students.
Right. Mohammad Ajmal Khan, what about UPSC and other various entrance tests for universities, those that come under UGC? So I think UPSC is something we'll leave to Sanya, my colleague who tracks the
Sure.
civil services and government for us, and we'll hopefully get her to answer
this question.
as a comment. But what
Sure.
about entrance tests? I mean, how, now that this year is ending, the new academic session is, a few months away, what
Yeah.
about universities? I mean, where are we placed as far as colleges and universities are concerned?
See, when the academic year, even before the academic year begins, what happens in the initial period is the NEET, JEE, these entrance exams. The university entrance exams come much later. Some of them start in March, some of them start in April, May. So we'll have to actually wait and see how that pans out. As of now, the idea is to have things on time as much as possible.
Right.
Because even when the government is talking about delaying JEE, they're not talking about a big delay. They're just saying instead of January, we'll conduct it in February. Yeah.
Okay. Siddharth Atmaram, will this statement by the minister have any implications on the BITSAT exam, which is the entry for Birla Institute? Is that how you pronounce it? The BITSAT?
Yeah, BITSAT. Yeah.
Yeah.
But which statement is the we are talking
I
about?
think what Siddharth wants to know is whether the minister said anything about it or whether the press note mentions anything.
No, if you want to know if BITSAT will also be conducted 4 times or something like that, it will not be, because Birla Institute of Technology is a private institute and they completely design and decide the dates of their exams. So no, that will not have any impact on private exams.
All right. So Kritika, even if the dates for CBSE boards are announced, how will the government ensure physical distancing? Is there any talk around that? Because the number of students is huge.
Yeah, so exactly the way they conducted NEET, they kind of scattered the students, divided the number of students coming on a single day. Not more than 12 students in a classroom meant for 24 students, and staggered entry and things like that. So I mean, this is the plan typically right now. Also, I would like to tell you that the education ministry is they're really proud of the way they conducted NEET. In fact, the education minister mentioned in his interaction today that the election commission said that elections should be conducted the way NEET was held.
All right.
So the kind of confidence that they have is quite commendable.
Okay. So before I take a couple of last questions,
Sure.
Kritika, just to sort of understand, did the minister mention anything about schools, when children can go back to school? I know it's been left to states, but did he sort of give any guideline or anything that he would have mentioned?
So he did say that 17 states have opened schools so far. He said that's a figure that we have also reported about some states, but he said the 17 states have reopened schools so far, and more could do so in the future. And most of the states that are reopening schools are keeping all the precautions in mind, safety guidelines, social distancing, and he just assured students that hold on just a little longer, the schools might reopen anytime.
All right. So Mayank Singh wants to know about the NEET dates, but you've already spoken about them. Soumya Ranjan Das, anything on undergraduate semester exams?
Undergraduate semester exams are 2021, I believe he's asking. There is no announcement of it
as of now.
As of now.
Okay, the viewer who goes by the name Vladimir Putin, has the concept of an educational zero year been completely ruled out now? So I mean, it's
Yes.
not a year which is being treated as null and
No,
void.
you just cannot treat this year as a zero academic year, because as soon as the schools closed down, most of the schools started teaching online. So you just cannot call it a zero academic year. Yeah.
Right, and you had entrance exams.
You had
around
entrance
as well.
exams, you had college education going on, school education going on. In fact, the teachers are working so hard to keep the online
Correct.
education going on. So it's not a zero academic year.
Right. Well, Kritika helping us unravel and decode the education minister's interaction with students today and giving us the big highlights, which include the fact that the JEE will be conducted four times next year, but no clarity, unfortunately, for CBSE students and for certain other entrance exams as well. Thank you for watching Government Matters and for sending in your questions. Keep subscribing to our YouTube channel.